and FM, WCSR. Andy Brown with you. It's our timeout show for a Tuesday. It's our last Tuesday show. Next week we go back to Wednesday nights. Big show next week. Coach Warfield, Camden Frontier Redskins girls basketball. She's bringing the entire senior class in studio. We're talking ladies hoops next week in the SCAA. This week we're thrilled to have my friend, Brad Felix, and a couple of his guys with him tonight. We'll talk to them in just a second. I do want to remind you our show is brought to you by Coach B's Driving School. You can give them a call at 517-425-2614. Our show also brought to you by Randy's Auto Body at 7180 South Hillsdale Road. Brad, welcome back to the show. Good to talk to you again. Before we get into basketball, your thoughts about the Vikings firing of Brad Childress?
Well, I'm not one to really rip on coaches, but, to be honest with you, I have NFL Sunday ticket, and I watch the Vikings every week, and I think it was a good move. And, I don't know how Leslie Frazier will do for him, but, so far so good. He's 1-0.
The Lions are one of the, 7 NFL teams to interview Leslie Frazier. His time has come. I mean, he's put in his time to get a head coaching job. Chili's welcome was wearing out. And the way to do that, Brad, I think, is to get a 3-year, 4-year guaranteed contract and then get fired during the first year of that. I mean, what's he got to do now?
Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. And I think, good. To be honest, I think Leslie Frazier's in a good position because they do owe all that money to Chili. Yep. And they're going to probably try to hire somebody that's not going to demand big bucks. So, in that respect, I think Leslie's got a good situation.
Well, Brad, let's talk a little bit about your squad this year for 2010, 2011. Obviously, in high school basketball, every year you graduate some players, and every team's a little bit different as the years go by. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking at with this year's group.
Well, last year we didn't get the results that we wanted, obviously. It was a little down year for us. We kind of became accustomed to winning, and last year the wins were few and far between. But, we do return 6 guys from last season, so we got kind of an odd mix. We've got some veterans, we've got some youth, and we also have some new guys that, have moved into the program. So trying to gel all those guys together right now is a bit of a challenge. It's really like a jigsaw puzzle right now, and we don't even have the frame together yet. I'm pleased with our depth. I was telling the guys today, it's a great problem to have, and yet a tough problem for a coach. We are probably 12 deep. We don't have any all-stars on our team, but I don't think, as I like to say, I don't think we have any stiffs or, those guys you would label as a practice guy on our team. And right now, trying to get the right 5 out there and subbing so much has been tough. But we are trying to get back into the Hillsdale chaos, so to say, system that I like to play. Last year I think I played around a little bit too much trying to keep us competitive. We tried to press early and tried to run early, and it didn't work, and we tried to slow down, and that took us a while to adjust to that system, and we played pretty well in February last year. But I didn't enjoy it. I don't like playing like that, and we're trying to go back now to the pressing, getting up and down the floor a little bit more and trying to get some easier shots.
Yep, high percentage baskets. That's been your hallmark over the years. As far as the fact that you have at least one freshman, I haven't talked to you recently, on your varsity squad, and maybe more than that before it's all said and done, and then your seniors as well. How have you found over the years that that's worked to have guys of all different classes kind of playing together on one team?
Well, as I look back at our 25-0 season, that was a mix of sophomores and seniors. Right. So I would say pretty good. Mm-hmm. And even when Tyler and Mike Blanchard were freshmen, they came up, and that was a pretty good season for us also. That was kind of the beginning of our good years there for a while when we really put a lot of wins together and a lot of points on the board. Brandon Beischer is our freshman that we brought up, and one thing about Brandon is he's just a quality individual. Off the floor altogether, he really likens himself to the Scott Lannis kind of kid that I had. Just a great guy that's willing to listen. He's like a military man. Every time I say something to him, he says, yes, sir, no, sir, constantly. So he fits right in with our guys. He's not going to come in and push around too much, but he's got a lot of leadership skills. And, we've got 2 sophomores up now, too. Zach Van Orman's up. We just brought him up recently. And he's just the fundamentals. He's not very flashy, but he screens, he rebounds, he boxes out. He's in the right place at the right time. He does a solid job for us, and he gives us another 6'5" guy. He pushes Dan a little bit in practice, pushes Edwards a little bit in practice, and that's good for us. And the other sophomore is Jimmy Chase, who's right now is on the shelf. He's got a bulging disc in his back, and he hasn't been able to practice at all. So I don't mind bringing up young guys. If they're ready to play, they're ready to play.
Regardless of the age and the rest of it. You've got Hudson a week from Friday night. That's your opener. Between now and then, what do you want to do? What do you want to do to get ready to start the season?
Well, we scrimmaged on Saturday, against some great competition. We saw Gull Lake, who was a state semifinalist last year in Class B, and they had 9 guys returning from that team. We scrimmaged Hastings, who's a big Class B school. We saw Harper Creek, Battle Creek, Penfield, and we really held our own Saturday. We played pretty well, but our press is pretty bad right now, for the lack of a better term. I want to get our guys in the right place, and right now I think it's on me as a coach. I think our guys are putting in great effort. They're working hard in practice. I just think right now there's a little confusion. They're not 100% sure of what they need to do, and it's my job to clear that up for them, because when you're thinking, you're not playing. So I got to get to the point where these guys aren't thinking so much. And we're going to go and scrimmage again tomorrow at Napoleon, and hopefully we see some improvements from what we saw Saturday. And, then you got to start Xing and Oing a little bit for games. We still got to get our last-second stuff in. I don't want to get into a game, even if it's the first one of the year, and we have to go the length of the floor in 3 seconds. We have a play for that, but I don't want to even go into game one without that in. So we've got to, get going and get out and, scout. We're going to scout Hudson on Monday, and, we'll watch film, and, and most importantly right now is I got to come up with some sort of a rotation.
How many are you comfortable playing in a game? Like in a competitive game, what's a Coach Felix rotation going to look like? 8, 9 guys? I mean, what does it normally shake out?
Ideally, that's, a lot of people say, man, when you guys were, had those great years, were you 10, 11, 12 deep with all that pressing? And quite frankly, no, we weren't. We were pretty much 8 guys. Usually at 1 guard and 2 bigs that would rotate. And, that's a great rotation if you're only worrying about, 3 or 4 guys that you need to get in the game. I'm really a little nervous, to be honest, to have to turn around and look at 7 guys who I think can go in and play for me. So, we've entertained thoughts of having a pressing unit and a not pressing unit. I'm talking, when I say we, me, my assistant coach and I have thought about these things. We've thought about the hockey, 5 in, 5 out. And that not necessarily is my style. I just feel like we need to have some sort of a rhythm out there, and I think sooner or later things will float to the forefront, so to say, and we'll find out who our tops 8, 9 guys are, and that's how our rotation will work.
Are you able to find that out during practices, or will it take a couple of games to be able to figure that out?
Well, normally you do find out in practice. I mean, quite frankly, sometimes in the summer I know. That's why summer ball is so important. A lot of times I know pretty much who our top 7 guys are coming in, and a lot of times I have a pretty good idea who we're going to start, when the season starts. And this is the first year I don't have a great handle on it. Now we've got two starting 5s right now that we really are kind of looking at pretty hard. But it's the subbing. Do we want to go 3 guys in and 3 guys out, or do we want to try to filter guys in and out? And that's the part that we're a little nervous about right now. But again, it's not necessarily a bad problem. We've got a lot of skilled kids. We're pretty athletic.
I'm talking to Brad Felix, the varsity head coach at Hillsdale High School, here on the Timeout Show. Clevy, Mike's going to be out for a while. He got an injury during soccer, and I know he's excited to get back for baseball and wants to do basketball too. What's the outlook with him and Jimmy as far as your injury situation?
I'm not so sure on Jimmy. He can do light things right now. Right. Bulging disc in your back, and that's pretty painful. Yeah. And I've seen some people not really heal from that too quick. He's still pretty laid up. He's really stiff. He just can't seem to maneuver very well. And it's a really bad timing for him, because everything's new to him as far as the playbook is concerned. So he's missing so much time as far as reps are concerned. It's probably the worst thing that could have happened to him, being in the position that he's in. As far as Mike is concerned, I think he can step in. He's been with me for 3 years now, so the X's and O's won't be as much of a challenge for him. He knows what we do and what we like to do. But it doesn't look like we're going to get him back as soon as we anticipated. He was looking at first day of practice,
right.
And then he thought maybe first game. Then he was thinking, well, for sure I'll be back for the Rotary tournament. And he's run with us a little out there, but, it really literally looks like he's got a peg leg. He runs with one leg stiff as a pole, and he can't move. So I'm thinking, geez, he's not even close.
All right. Introduce these guys you brought with you tonight.
I brought my captains with me tonight. Dan Veer's a senior. He'll be a second-year varsity player, just coming off a fantastic football season. And then Patrick Martin, he's a senior also, saw limited minutes last year for us, but has really been a great, as our coaches and I have looked at him and said he's been kind of a pleasant surprise so far. He's just looked like he's learned a lot from last year, and he's been a really good leader for us so far on the floor. So they're our captains this year.
Man, Dan, when I talked to you a couple of months ago, you were playing wide receiver and all the rest of it, and then you're the quarterback, and you ended up being really, really good at it this year in football. And I don't really want to talk that much about the end of the season. We've kind of hashed that to death. But to be out there and have the run that you guys had and to get into the playoffs, playing quarterback, which I know you've always enjoyed playing, that had to be pretty fun, huh?
Yeah, it's probably one of the best experiences of my life to definitely step in and have some fun.
Throw the ball around a little bit, get out and run a little bit. You guys had a nice finish. As you look at this basketball team, Dan, obviously you're one of the bigs out there on the glass and all the rest of it. How do you see it coming together so far?
Well, we have a lot of size, and if there's one thing that other teams have, it's not size. So if we can use that and just use our